What is up, everybody? Good afternoon, good morning, whatever you want to call it this morning, this afternoon as we get started with our Thanksgiving Day. Happy Thanksgiving to start the day, obviously. I'm excited here. I got to get in here early, get this recorded for everybody before the three game slate of the NFL this on this fine Thursday here. But yes, happy Thanksgiving. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves, enjoying some time with the family, getting some time away from work. Some may consider this work. I don't consider this work. This is content creating. This is fun for me. With the NFL slate today, I definitely wanted to get some content out and make sure, I'm getting everything, my thoughts out there for you guys, get you guys prepared for today's slate. As you know, we got the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. I have some personal interest in that game. Just made a trade in a dynasty league for DeAndre Swift, so I want to see an explosion from him. So I'll be glued to the TV for that game. Although I know it's not the most exciting matchup of the year for sure. And then of course we got the Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders. That one should be a pretty interesting game. You're looking at two offenses that have been great at times, very up and down though, and have gone into a bit of a slump in the recent weeks. So one of these teams will have to bounce back today and get the W there. And then we finish off the day with the Bills and Saints. The Saints have been slumping. They're real beat up, coming off the big loss to the Eagles in Philadelphia last weekend. And they're looking to bounce back against the Bills, who also took a huge loss last week. They got demolished by Jonathan Taylor and the Indianapolis Colts. So both teams looking to bounce back here. Who's actually going to do it? Before we dig in, this is going to be a very quick episode. It's Thanksgiving. I'm not trying to take up a ton of your time. So I'm going to fly through everything, make sure we get everything covered today with pigskin picks, power rankings, and then, of course, the previews for each game. But we're going to keep this under 30, 20, 25 minutes, somewhere around that time frame. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Before we dive in, definitely want to make sure make sure you're following DSM Media on Twitter at DSM_media. Also, make sure you're following me if you're not already at Scotty Drowned on Twitter. You can also find me at Scotty Drowned on Instagram as well as TikTok. So make sure you're following me on all the platforms. I share a bunch of my takes throughout the week. Just because I don't get to make content doesn't mean I don't get to share my opinions on each and everything throughout the week. So definitely tap in. Make sure you're keeping up with everything that's going on with DSM Media. And, of course, I want to shout out my co-host for Turf Talk. Couldn't be here with me today. A little hungover from the Friendsgiving Wednesday night festivities, the night before Thanksgiving. It always gets pretty crazy. I've gotten kind of out of that stage in my life. I'm getting a little bit older. I can't do the hangovers as much, but I will have some fun this weekend when I get to go back home to Maryland and be with some friends. But, wanted to shout out Dylan Davis, of course. Thankful to have him as my co-host here on Turf Talk, also one of the founding members of DSM. So make sure you're following Dylan at DylanJD98 on Twitter. And then, of course, we have to give thanks to anybody and everybody that's involved with DSM Media, my personal people that I'm thankful for. So I just want to say, first of all, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there that's watching right now. To anybody who isn't watching, hopefully we get you to watch soon, but happy Thanksgiving to you as well. And I just want to say I'm grateful for each and everybody that supports DSM Media, supports Scotty Talks, supports Turf Talk, supports Faithful Fanatics, Training with Phil Stifle, Training in the AM, Diamond Talk, What the Football, all of the above, El Parcero Philly, the Philly recaps, every part of DSM Media, every part of the Twitter community that we're so big in. Thank you to everyone. You make Philly sports, you make sports in general so fun, right? Like there's nothing I enjoy more, aside from being with my friends and family, than talking sports and watching sports and bouncing ideas off of the Twitter community, around the Instagram community, around the Facebook community. All around the world, we get to share our thoughts together in this content creating world, this beautiful social media platform. Obviously, it has its negatives, its downsides. but there is so much positivity that goes into this, and so much freedom and so much creativity that we get to express ourselves with from these platforms. And I just want to say thank you to each and every one that makes those platforms so great to be a part of. And of course, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to my girlfriend, Alexis. She's at work today. She's a nurse. She's putting in the hard work on a day where most people get to sit at home with their families. So thank you to Alexis for putting in the work as a registered nurse at Thomas Jefferson Hospital in South Philly. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to my mom, Tiffany. Thank you for always being a great mother. Definitely thankful for you this year. My girlfriend's parents, Kathy, Booty, thank you so much for raising such a beautiful daughter that I have the pleasure of being ingrained with for hopefully the rest of my life. Truly the love of my life. Much love to all of you, my family, and then, of course, my friends, my brothers, scattered out across the United States. We're all over the place these days, but definitely sending love and gratefulness your way. And then, of course, my DSM crew. I mentioned all the shows, but did I mention the content creators that we host on this platform? I just want to say thanks to the entire DSM crew. Dylan, as I mentioned, my co-host for Turf Talk, the host of Faithful Fanatic, a co-founder of DSM Media. Again, Matt McGinty, my man, another co-founder of DSM Media, co-host of the Faithful Fanatics, puts in all the work. Phil Stifle, my guy, as soon as you became a free agent, I reached out to you. I wanted you to be a part of this. I wanted to work with you directly. Love the hard work that you put in, brother. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Jason Sullivan, my man, the Fantasy King. Happy Thanksgiving to you, and thank you for joining Team DSM Media. And, of course, we're happy to see your son Jax is doing well out of the hospital. So happy Thanksgiving to Jax as well. To Jason Voorhees, my man, you're always supporting on Twitter. You're always supporting on Facebook. Wherever you can find us, you support us. We're happy to have you on the team. We love the videos, and I can't wait to do more content with you, Jason. George Ryder, my man, Diamond Talk, baseball fanatic. The bet man. He puts up huge money on bets between him, Dylan, Gant, all those guys. But George, my man, happy Thanksgiving to you. I hope you're enjoying your day. Jeremy, my man, host of What the Football, co-host of Diamond Talk, co-host of Trending in the AM. My man Jeremy is touching DSM Media from all different areas. And I want to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, Jeremy. And, of course, my man, El Parcero, Philly, John, JP, if you guys know him personally, thank you for joining Team DSM. You know I've been wanting to work with you directly for so long, and I'm so happy to have you as part of the team here with DSM. So thank you. I'm grateful for you, and happy Thanksgiving. And, of course, my man, Hunter, thank you for joining Team DSM. Can't wait to continue to do more content, more work with you, and continue putting out those DFS tips and all of those fantasy props. We appreciate you at DSM. Everybody that's part of DSM Media, we appreciate you so much. But this isn't just a show where we give thanks, right? We do have to get into the actual content, the actual NFL part of things today, which is what I'm so excited about. First thing I want to do, it is typically our general Thursday episode, so we usually recap Week 11. Not going to spend too much time. As I mentioned, this is going to be a shortened episode. So just a few takeaways from Week 11 itself. It's hard to tell who's real, right? Every week it just seems like a person that I slide into my top 5 power rankings, I think that they're legit. I think they're going to run the table, and then they lose or they get dismantled by a team that they're just literally not supposed to. There's just been puzzling losses all around. So we talk about teams getting hot as well. That's my other takeaway, and it kind of feeds into it's hard to tell who's real. You have teams getting hot like the Patriots, who beat the Falcons 25-0. You have the Colts, who beat the Bills 41-15. The Bills were in my top 5 power rankings last week. Where are the Bills now? Are the Colts moving into the top 10? It's hard to say right now, right? We had the Vikings come away with a nail-biter against the Packers, divisional rival. Vikings are showing that they are a real team. right? They've had some tough losses this season. You know, some nail biters, some last-minute field goals, last-minute missed field goals, whatever the case may be. But this is a team that is right there. You know, maybe they don't win the division, you know, due to the Packers' lead that they have, you know, right now in the division, but definitely in that wild card running. We had the Eagles beating the Saints 40-29. Saints, a team that I had in my power rankings 3 weeks ago, top 10. Not anymore. They've fallen, they've plummeted, and they're really beat up. But the Eagles are getting hot. They found a formula that works, running the football and preserving your defense. It's working for the Eagles. How far can they take it? And so as I'm looking around the league, as I mentioned, just right there, formula to win. It feels like this season it's kind of changing, you know, where it's been these prolific passing offenses, these air-raided passing offenses. Teams are getting back to the basics this season. You know, you look at the teams I just mentioned, the Pats, the Patriots, right? One of the best defenses in the NFL. They pound the rock with their trio of running backs, Bolden, Stevenson, and Harris. They pound the rock, and they got some decent receivers that can get open when they need to. Mac Jones is playing, if you want to call him a game manager, it is the top tier of game managers in the NFL. And it's showing an outlook or an outline for what is successful in this year's NFL season. You look at the Colts, who I mentioned, just routed the Buffalo Bills, who have one of the best defenses in the NFL. Running the football, Jonathan Taylor, 6 straight 100-yard rushing games, 5 touchdowns in that game against the Buffalo Bills. That is insane, but it's a formula, and it's working. Are the Colts figuring out something? The Vikings, they go in, they beat the Green Bay Packers. What do the Vikings have? Yes, Kirk Cousins. Don't get me wrong. Kirk Cousins is playing out of his mind. He's playing elite right now. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen on the outside. But you got that workhorse Dalvin Cook in the back, and you got a stout defense. Formula to win, right? The Vikings are picking it up. And, of course, the Eagles, as I mentioned, they got Miles Sanders back this week. Jalen Hurts goes for 3 rushing touchdowns against the number 1 rushing defense in the NFL in the New Orleans Saints. And the Eagles run up 242 rushing yards on that same defense. Eagles have found a formula. You run the football, preserve your defense. Defense get a few big plays, has potential for blowouts. What do the Eagles have left on their schedule? Giants, Washington football team, Jets, Giants, Washington football team, Cowboys. Are we joking? This Eagles team is looking scary. They could definitely get into the playoffs with a strong push to finish out the season. My takeaways from Week 11, it's getting crazy in the NFL, and I'm loving it. It's getting tight. And Jalen Hurts, that was my final takeaway. Obviously, I'm an Eagles fan. He's very much looking like the guy. It's time to stop doubting him. It's time to raise those expectations, and it's time to win some football here in Philadelphia. Those were my takeaways from Week 11. Very straightforward. The NFL is getting exciting, guys. Let's enjoy it, and we'll keep it going today at Thanksgiving football. The next thing I wanted to get into, quick overview of my top 5 NFL power rankings. Every week, me and Dylan do this. I still wanted to get you my top 5 out there. I did post it on Twitter, but anybody that watches on YouTube, Instagram, wherever you guys catch our shows, definitely want to get the rankings out to you as well. So number 1, I do have the Cardinals moving back up into that number 1 spot. Green Bay had taken the lead last week. Obviously, with the loss to the Vikings, Green Bay had to shift down a bit. Cardinals were able to take care of business against the Seahawks divisional opponent without Kyler Murray, without DeAndre Hopkins, once again, without Chase Edmonds. Their top 3 at every level of skill positions on the offense, gone. And they win the game by double digits against the Seahawks, the divisional opponent. Looks like the Seahawks are about done. But the Cardinals are just getting started. They should get Kyler Murray back this week. The Packers got them down at number 2. Not a huge drop, right? 8-3 on the season. Aaron Rodgers a little beat up. Devontae Adams a little beat up. Aaron Jones was out. They were all in on A.J. Dillon this past weekend. Tough loss to the Vikings, who I said are on the rise. They're getting hot. They got the formula to win. And the Vikings are a tough team. So I'm not discrediting the Packers too much for that loss. It's a divisional opponent, and it was a tight one. The Packers are going to get back on track. Their defense has been playing really well this season. I look for them to continue the movement. Number 3, I had the Bucs rising up to number 3, kind of by default. The Bucs were able to gather a win against the Giants on Monday Night Football, 30-10. They blew the doors off the Giants, as they should. But they were coming off, 2 miserable losses. Tom Brady turning the ball over a lot, which you would like to see that cut out. But overall, I'm going to enlist my faith in the Bucs over some of these other teams like the Rams of the world, who have simply not proven what the Bucs have proven. The Bucs have won a championship with this same exact team. Number 4, I'm coming in with the Tennessee Titans. They could drop over the next few weeks. I'm not going to lie to you. They play the Patriots this week, which I wholeheartedly think they're going to lose that game against the Patriots. I think that's going to be another game on the Patriots' belt that knocks them up a notch, pushes them up the power rankings. Maybe we see them in the top 5 next week after they beat the Titans this upcoming weekend. But for now, you're talking about a Titans team that's 8-3, coming off a loss against Houston. That's why I dropped them from number 2. Excuse me. But it's still a tough team. They've still gathered wins against tough teams without Derrick Henry, so I'm not knocking them too far just yet. But that loss to the Texans was pretty bad, and I do think Derrick Henry loss will start to show its face. But you're talking about a team that's beat the Colts twice, beat the Chiefs, beat the Bills this season as well. Number 5, finishing out my top 5, we have the Kansas City Chiefs entering the conversation again. Excuse me while I take a sip of my Yangling. Thanksgiving. Woo, kicking it off early, and it tastes good. Number 5, bringing the Kansas City Chiefs back into my top 5. I was on the show with Dylan last week. I told you guys, not sold on the Chiefs revival just yet. I'm not sure that, I believe in their defense. They came out. They held the Cowboys to 9 points. They held them under double digits, beat them by double digits in a game where they scored under 20 points. And to me, that's a good sign for Kansas City. I'm not worried about their offense like some of these people. I was worried about that defense. That defense is getting healthy. The pass rush is starting to formulate. And they were able to take out a very healthy opponent in the Dallas Cowboys. Big win for the Kansas City Chiefs, right back in my top 5 power rankings this week. So once again, to just close out the power rankings segment, we had the Cardinals coming in at number 1. We had the Packers coming in at number 2. We had the Bucs coming in at number 3. We had the Titans coming in at number 4. And we had the Chiefs coming in at number 5. So now we get down to today's business. And as I mentioned, we're running a little under 10 minutes to go here. We start this week out healthy Thanksgiving schedule, Thanksgiving plate today. So as I go through these games, going to be really quick, just going to give you my overview and then my prediction. So we'll start with the first matchup of the day, 12:30 p.m., Lions-Bears preview. We got the Lions coming in 0-9-1. Yes, that is a tie with the Steelers from a few weeks ago. Still haven't been able to get a win just yet. They are in Detroit, as we all know today, as they are every Thanksgiving. The Chicago Bears are 3-7. They are without Justin Fields. Andy Dalton will get the start today. But the Bears have dropped 5 straight. Will they bounce back? Can Detroit get their first win of the season? As I mentioned, I have some personal interest in this game. Traded for DeAndre Swift over the weekend. Actually flipped Alvin Kamara for DeAndre Swift and Chase Claypool in a dynasty league. My opinion on the trade, I think I win the trade, obviously. Alvin Kamara, I love Alvin Kamara. He's 26. He's beat up right now. Not to say that he's on the downhill trend, which he very well may be, that the Saints will run him into the ground with the way their offense is set up right now. 26 years old. I'm looking at DeAndre Swift, who has outperformed him this season on a losing team in the Lions. And DeAndre Swift is 22 years old. You throw in Chase Claypool with him, who I believe is 23, 24 years old. Nice young wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. should definitely continue to grow in that offense. It was a no-brainer for me. Get a younger running back, which we know what age does to running backs in this league, and you get a nice receiver that can fit into the rotation that I got going on in that dynasty league. So I'm going to be glued to this game. I'm rooting for the Lions. My boy Jason Sullivan over in Detroit, Michigan, huge Lions fan. I'm with you today, brother. I want you guys to get your first W. The Lions are 3-point underdogs to the Chicago Bears. But, part of me just feels like this is a special day. It's Thanksgiving. Lions are going to give back to the city of Detroit. They're going to get that first W. It's going to be against a division rival in the Chicago Bears. I'm sorry to my future mother-in-law, Kathy, huge Bears fan. I'm sorry. I hope you take the L today. I think you're taking the L today. No Jared Goff. I think the Lions go conservative offensively. I think it works out for them. Run the offense through DeAndre Swift, period. You run it through DeAndre Swift, get him involved in the passing game and the running game, make the decisions easy for your quarterback. Against a Bears defense that is pretty good, right? That's the one part of their team that is pretty steady. But let's look for the Lions to really dig in, get at those kneecaps today of the Chicago Bears. And I'm going with a Lions dub today. They're going against the odds. And I do think Swift has a huge day on Thanksgiving. And Lions get their first W of the season. So congratulations to the Lions pre-game right now, okay? As for the Cowboys versus Las Vegas Raiders, we're looking at the Las Vegas Raiders, 5-5 on the season, started out real hot. Got some big wins against some good teams, and now they've completely slowed down. They, got waxed last week against who did the Raiders play last week? So Raiders got waxed by the Bengals, who had already been on a downward tilt themselves. I believe it was 32-11, 32-13, something like that. So close to a 20-point victory for the Bengals over the Raiders. That's not the Raiders team that I saw when Philadelphia played them a few weeks ago, where that pass rush was just monstrous. Let's see if the Raiders can get back on track today against the Cowboys, who are sitting at 7-3, but also trying to get back on track, right? Coming off a game where some people didn't favorite them against the Chiefs. I certainly did. I thought the Cowboys were the better team in that game. They weren't able to come away with that win, held under 10 points, which you never see from that offense. They do got guys beat up. Tyrone Smith, the right tackle, they're a shell without him. You look at Amari Cooper's out with COVID, shell without him. You mentioned CeeDee Lamb goes down with a concussion during that game. So lost a lot of players. Even Zeke was dealing with some knee issues. They're going through some injury problems. Tyrone Smith is in today. CeeDee Lamb is out. So I do have the Cowboys bouncing back today. I think Dak gets back on track. Doubt we see another dismal game from that offense. If Tyrone Smith wasn't playing, I would be worried because the Raiders do have two premier pass rushers in Crosby and in Ngakoue. But I think the Cowboys, you get Tyrone Smith, that gives them a bit of confidence going into this game. They need this W. The Eagles, as I said, are hot. The Washington football team is getting hot. They're sitting at 4-6 right now. Cowboys need to keep this spread, right? They need to keep that distance in the NFC East. I think the Cowboys get back on track today with a dub against the Raiders. The Cowboys are 7.5-point favorites in that game against the Raiders today. And finally, the Bills and the Saints. This one is pretty easy for me. I look at the Bills, I look at the Saints. Saints are 5-5, Bills are 6-4. One game separating those teams, right, in the records. I don't think it's as close as those records really say right there, right? I think this game is going to be a blowout. I think the Bills are going to take care of the Saints. Bills are coming off of an embarrassing win against the Indianapolis Colts, where Jonathan Taylor beat that team by himself. I should say Jonathan Taylor and his offensive line. That's very ignorant of me to say by himself. They were able to take care of that Bills defense, who has been a top 5 rushing and passing defense throughout this season. Colts really didn't have to do anything out of their comfort zone. The Bills were totally on their heels the entire game. They got to bounce back today against the Saints team. They're 6.5-point favorites over. You got to take care of business against a team with a quarterback by the name of Trevor Siemian. We just saw the Eagles dominate this team. We saw an Eagles defense turn them over 3 to 4 times in that game. The Bills need to do the same thing. I think the Bills are a better team than the Eagles. I think they have a better offense and a better defense. Time to put it on the field today. Show that you're better than the New Orleans Saints without Alvin Kamara, without Michael Thomas, without Drew Brees, right? Without even Jameis Winston. They just gave an extension to Taysom Hill, who has like 160 yards on the season so far. Saints look very confused in what they're doing. Time for the Bills to take advantage of that on Thanksgiving Day. I think Josh Allen and company take care of business. So I got the Lions in the first game. Fingers crossed, putting my money on them, right? Lions over the Bears in the first game. I got the Cowboys over the Raiders. Although Raiders do have a decent chance of winning this game with the Cowboys being so beat up at their skill positions. But I do think the Cowboys still have the better team there. So I am going with the Cowboys. And finally, the Buffalo Bills. As I mentioned, the Saints are entirely too beat up to compete with a team who I think should be at the top tier of AFC contenders as we go into the playoffs. Excuse me, the beer's got me burping. But guys, that is all I have for you today. You got my picks, you got my power rankings, you got my takeaways from week 11, and you got my gratefulness, my thankfulness to each and every one of you out there. Anybody that sees this, happy Thanksgiving from me, myself, Scotty, and the DSM Media crew. And before I get out of here, as you know, DSM Media is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped has a great sale going on this Black Friday weekend. You go to manscaped.com, you'll get 25% off and free shipping. I know Manscaped has helped me keep my jewels very clean and smooth throughout the holidays so far. Go ahead, join the team of Manscaped, get your gear from them, and make sure you let them know that DSM Media Team sent you. Use the code TURF20 if you don't get to them Black Friday. After Black Friday, you can use the code TURF20 in order to get that 20% off and free shipping. But I say jump on it now. 25% off and free shipping sounds a little bit better. For myself, for DSM Media, thank you to everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you on Sunday with another edition of Turf Talk. Have a good one, everybody, and peace.